for giving me the opportunity to speak with you all this evening. I remember being in the 6th grade and sitting at my first Top 12 banquet listening to Candace McCarthy speak, and right then it became a personal goal of mine to be invited to come and speak when I was a senior. So thank you again for giving me this opportunity. Just to give you all a little background of myself, I did come to Vernon for the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. When I attended this school, I was involved in anything and everything. From tennis, volleyball, and cheerleading, to UIL, pentathlon, and orchestra, I did it all. For the duration of my middle school experience, I was able to involve myself in pretty much any activity that my overachieving heart desired. There were so many activities that I had the option to be a part of, and I was more than willing to devote all of my time and efforts to these organizations. However, upon entering high school, I quickly discovered that this wouldn't be the same case. Each activity was so time-consuming that I had no other choice but to choose the 3 or 4 activities that were most important to me. When I entered high school, I joined the freshman cheerleading squad, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and became freshman class vice president. Now, although I wasn't involved in as many activities as I was used to, the amount of time I invested in these organizations and in my schoolwork served as sufficient compensation. Another habit that remained the same in my transition to high school was my desire to be successful and to achieve even my most unattainable goals. From an early age, I was always a go-getter and wanted to do whatever it took to acquire excellent grades, attend a great university, and be a successful leader in whatever career I chose. With this mindset, I knew exactly what I wanted out of life. I wanted more than anything to achieve educational success. I was determined to fulfill this goal and began planning early for my future. Along the road, I came across more valuable knowledge than I could have ever hoped for, and not necessarily in a textbook-taught way. Through my high school experiences alone, I've gained valuable life lessons that I know will help to guide me as I further my academic pursuits. One of the most important lessons I've learned is to always have faith in yourself. Growing up in a place like the Valley, unfortunately we are made to believe that our opportunity is limited and that we will never be able to accomplish our highest goals, that we will never be able to attend an Ivy League school or win a Nobel Prize. We will never be a pioneer in space exploration, and that we won't have a defining impact on our generation. And that's where they're wrong. Although we stem from a low economic region where it seems as though civilization and dreams are miles and miles away, it doesn't define who we are, and it doesn't determine who we will be. For all we know, a future congressman or an award-winning film director could be sitting in this very room. Never allow the insecurities of others to inhibit the amount you're willing to push yourself in order to make your dreams a reality. If every person quit when they were told their dreams were unattainable, then we would not have seen Barack Obama become the first African-American president of the United States. We would have not been given the opportunity to learn in an unprejudiced school environment, and we would have never seen the day when women were granted the right to vote. Having faith in your dreams and in yourself is the single most important key to being successful, and will prove to be true as you continue on to high school and college. Another important lesson I've learned is that failure never necessarily means defeat. While there have been many times in my high school career that I've had to accept failure, I've learned that failure itself is what inspires me to grow and to make my goals possible. This past year, I stumbled across a quote by J.K. Rowling, who's the author of the Harry Potter series, and her quote perfectly describes the acceptance of failure. She stated, "It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well have not lived at all, in which case you failed by default." I had never heard failure so clearly defined. Failure is what motivates us, not what hinders us, not unless we allow it. If we live about our lives with the fear of failing, then we end up failing ultimately. Defeat is not the worst of failures. Not to have tried is the true failure. By experiencing failure and having to endure its consequences, it enables us to grow as people and helps to reveal our individual strengths. The final lesson I've derived in my time as a high school student was the importance of time management. As I shared with you earlier, the adjustment I made in cutting back my extracurricular involvement, when I entered high school, I wasn't able to do it all anymore. I had to prioritize my life and decide on what was important enough for me to continue and what was something I could sacrifice. Thankfully, after taking things slow my first year of high school, I was able to utilize my time to work in my favor. I cut back on downtime and stayed organized so that I would have extra time to join another activity or two. By managing my time properly, I was able to get more out of my high school experience than most of my peers because I had time to do it. While I began as a member of only 3 activities, I eventually was able to become a part of 9 clubs and organizations. I was able to build an association with respectable friends and create an image of accountability and good character amongst the adults in my life. Being active and accountable was a tremendous benefit in my high school experience, especially when it came to letters of recommendation for college. Maybe you will have to make a few sacrifices along the way to be involved, but in the end, it will all be worth it when you're applying for college, scholarships, and even jobs. While some of you still have a year or 2 left in middle school, I encourage the 8th grade students here to take to heart the lessons I've shared with you this evening and really use them to your advantage as you begin your first year of high school. As you embark on the final chapters of childhood, remember that every choice you make will reap a consequence, and it's up to you to determine whether that choice will produce positive or negative consequences. With a new set of friends and peer pressures, take time before you act and ask yourself if choosing to do something will help you or hinder you. The choice won't always be easy, but sometimes the hardest choice and the right choice are the same thing. Throughout high school, as I faced my own portion of pressures and decisions, when it came time to decide, I would think about my parents. I'd think about the way they'd spent my entire life instilling morals and values in me so that I might prosper in my life and be successful. If I chose to do something harmful to that expectation, their disappointment alone would be unbearable. While I have had my fair share of bad decisions, I wish I'd known then what I have known now. Life is the sum of all your choices. Each decision you make will impact the rest of your life, whether in small or large part. Don't gamble with your future, because you never know which wrong choice will be enough to damage it. Parents. The most influential thing you can do for your children is to encourage them. Helping them to believe that their goals are possible will make these goals more attainable in their eyes. I would have never accomplished what I have had it not been for the persistent motivation and ambition instilled in me by my parents. As adolescents, many times we can feel apprehensive about who we are, and with your reassurance, we can gain strength in our individuality. Nurture your children by believing in their dreams as much as they do. This support has more power behind it than you will ever know. I would like to encourage the students here tonight to set high aspirations for yourself as you continue on your educational journey. Take the time to cherish the few years of adolescence you have left and make every educational endeavor count. You never believe it when everyone tells you how fast high school will go by. As seniors, my fellow classmates and I have gone our entire last year of high school talking about how we can't wait to get out of here, but the feeling is bittersweet. While I will be opening one door to begin my journey as a college student, I will be closing another that holds some of my most precious friends and memories. Nonetheless, I am very grateful to have gotten the most out of my schooling experience by keeping my focus on success. Without patience, hard work, or determination, I would not be standing before you this evening. I've pushed myself to excel as a student, and the honor of being able to speak with you tonight is a true example of how it has paid off. As high school comes to an end for me, I plan on taking my experiences and applying it to my work ethic in the future as a student of the University of Texas at Austin. While I'm sure this transition will be challenging, I intend on focusing on my main goal to remain a top student and to continue to serve as a leader of my peers. You are all here tonight because you are the best of the best and have the potential of greatness. But where you choose to go from here is up to you. Are you going to use your talents to your advantage, or are you going to let them go to waste? Accept your gifts and use them as you work towards your future. It's not always going to be easy, but as long as you remain true to your character, you will surely make it through and prosper. Work as hard as you can, and the rewards will be well worth it. And most of all, never forget that a wholesome education is by far the most valuable possession you can ever obtain. And without it, your opportunities will be limited. Congratulations on all your hard work, and I look forward to hearing of you in the future, as I know you will all continue to excel in your academic endeavors. Thank you.